Start with your legendary teammate and ask you what you're seeing from him on the mound. I mean, he's always been great, right? But this is the best we've ever seen him pitch. I know some starts he said he doesn't have his best stuff, and then he's still going 6 shutout innings. But it looked like he actually had his good stuff in his latest outing. What are you seeing from him, dude?
Yeah, I mean, everything he throws is just elite. He's got 12 pitches that he can throw pretty much, and it's just as a hitter, when I think about him, I don't know how you would game plan because you just don't know what he's going to attack you with. He can attack you with something different every single time, and every pitch that he's coming at you with is an elite pitch. It's not like he's got one bad pitch, even though he might think he's got a couple bad pitches. They're all really good, and he's been locating them really well, and it's insane what he's been able to do, and it's been really fun to play behind him when he's on the mound.
You say 12 pitches?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many it actually is. I like to exaggerate a little bit, but I mean, it's four seam, sinker, cutter. It's like three types of sliders, pretty much. It's curveball, splitter. So I mean, what is that? That's 8, 9 pitches. So I only exaggerated a little bit, but he can throw all of those pitches.
But by the way, that reminds me of you, Darvish, because Darvish used to go four seam, sinker, cutter, slider, hard curveball, soft curveball, changeup, split. I mean, he was making knuckleball. I think he would throw. I mean, it was crazy. So yeah, that sounds like a Yu Darvish back when Yu Darvish was the age of Shohei. I mean, it's just fun to watch. When you're playing third base, or you just like out there bored, do you become an outfielder and you're out there working on your swing because nobody puts the ball in play?
No. I mean, when I feel pretty engaged when he's pitching. With the righties, when he throws the sweeper or the curveball, you feel pretty confident if they happen to put it in play, it's going to be on the ground towards you. And then with when the lefties are up, you're kind of like, well, he's going to blow a fastball by them, and the only chance they're going to put it in play, it's going to be slapped to the left side. So, you feel pretty engaged when he's on the mound, and there's not too many balls getting hit hard at you, so it's a pretty comfortable experience at third base. At least a lot of the balls are just slow rollers hit towards you, so it's fun.
Max, how important do you think a Cy Young is for him? We were mentioning how he's got so much already on his bucket list to be, the greatest player ever and win the titles and the MVPs. He hasn't won a Cy Young. So it's like, oh, I'm going to be so good this, it's like he had the 50-50 season, and it's like, okay, I did that. I showed everyone how I can do that. This is my time to shine here. The other caveat is we happen to be in a year where there's really, really good top end starters in a Cy Young race. And even if one or two fall off, there's like 5 or 6 that he's going up against.
Yeah, I mean, I think a Cy Young means a lot to him. I think that's, he mentioned that was his goal at the start of the season, and that might be the only award he hasn't gotten yet. So, I think it probably means a lot. When he says he's going to do something, he generally goes out and does it, and that's pretty much what he's been doing this year.
What's he like when he doesn't pitch? I think today he gets the day off. So is he in there just messing with you guys? Does he get bored when he's not playing? Does he flick sunflower seeds like the starting pitchers? They used to do pumpkin seeds to see who could flick them the farthest, how many they could eat. Doing all these stupid things because they're bored. Is that what Shohei does on days he doesn't play?
During the game, he might joke around a little bit. He might have a little fun. But before the game, I'm sure he's going to somehow feel like his start last night wasn't that good, and so he's going to try to figure out how he could make it better. That's how much attention he pays to detail with this kind of stuff, and I'm sure he's got something he wants to work on, and he's going to be in there all day working on it. And then when the game starts, he's going to be in there having a lot of fun with the boys.
I like it. All right, let's get to the rest of the team here. How do you think things are looking 1/3 of the way into the season? And I haven't been able to really ask this question to a player on a team since I've been in the industry. Is you guys figured out how to win back-to-back World Series titles. So you were able to figure out how to get through going the distance and then winning again. So what does it take to kind of hold off a World Series hangover for teams, coming off such like a long grind into October. And we've talked about this with you. I mean, you guys have had like the overseas trips to start years. You guys have had the deep runs into October. I know the team is well stacked and well coached and developed and all of that, but it still takes a toll, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think ultimately our cure to that is just, the veteran, how many veterans we have, how much experience we have, guys understanding how you show up every day and you go about the business. And, it's just a lot of focus on the team, the way we go about it, of doing it just day by day. And, whether it's a good day, whether it's a bad day, you show up the next day and you just, we're always so focused on just one day at a time that, with all of our guys, that it doesn't matter if we have a bad game. You show up the next day and you do it all over again. And, we don't dwell on anything. And for us, that's always helped us eliminate, a lot of the noise outside. And, it's been kind of crazy. A lot of the guys have been grinding really hard, and, a lot of the guys have been feeling the last couple of years for sure. And yet we're still able to show up every single day and, put together good games. And, I really just think it comes down to how much experience and all the veteran leadership that we've got in the clubhouse. I really think it comes down to all of that.
Max, you mentioned all the experience you have. I know why you came on. It's been a while. You haven't hit a home run in like 3 days, dude. Are you feeling okay? It's been like 3 days for you. So listen, people come on, they hit homers. I mean, it happened to Willie Abreu the other day. That's why I know it's been a long time for you, but you are mashing this year, dude. Like what is up?
Yeah, it's been a good start. Unfortunately for me, it hasn't been as good a start as I've wanted. I've been really bad in certain situations, and those are situations that I'm generally really good in and that I've thrived in. So, it's been a good start, but it's also been a bad start. And but for me, most importantly, it's been a great start on defense for me, and that's something that I've really been trying to focus on for years. And so that's to me, that's been the more important thing, is that I've been able to make an impact on the game defensively.
When you're doing self-analysis during the season, Max, how does it go? Do you rely on certain people within the organization to tell you what they're seeing from you? And then also, what are you looking at specifically? Like, are you looking at a certain report, stat, video? I know it's a mix of things, but like, can you give us, for young ball players out there, an example of some things that help them to self-evaluate?
Yeah, it's hard to not pay attention to numbers, but I try not to. For me, I try to pay attention to, am I getting the job done when the job requires it? Am I moving a guy over to third base? If there's a guy on second base, am I getting the ball on the ground to the right side, or am I driving? And if there's a guy on third base less than two, am I scoring them? Those are the things that I always try to pay attention to. And, like I said, this year I've been extremely bad in a lot of those situations. I know I've hit a bunch of homers, and, I am hitting the ball well. It's just in certain situations I want to be a lot better. And that's what I try to focus on. And, when you focus on trying to play the game hard and play it the right way, generally it rewards you. And, that's just how I've always been. That's what I've always focused on.
Okay. I want you to say that again, because what you just said was gold to me. You try to play the game the right way, and you try to get guys. Wait, did you say you try to get guys over? I thought that was a no-no in today's game. And you care about driving runners in from second? No, Max, you're just supposed to try to hit a home run or strike out or walk. Like, this is gold to me to hear someone actually say that. So thank you for saying that. And do the Dodgers actually talk about things like that? Because I played with Freddie, and I know Freddie cares about that kind of stuff. I played with Mookie. Mookie cared about that kind of stuff. So to hear you say that, I mean, wow, my mind like kind of exploded. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it's we try to focus on doing everything the right way, and that's one of those things that if there's certain at bats where you can tell the guy has no interest in, if it's a left-handed batter and he has no interest on trying to get the ball on the ground to the right side, you can see that from the side. And we try to put a handle on that immediately. We'll have conversations about it, saying, what were you thinking in the box? This is what you should have been trying to do. And ultimately the game's hard. You're not always going to be able to do the job, but you can tell when people are trying and not trying to do it. And for us, that's always a a big sticking point for us. Is we want to be doing things the right way, and we've always tried to harp on that.
Kratz, I know you love dad jokes. This is not a joke. Ridge's 5-in-1 travel power bank is the answer to all of your messy wires all over the place issues.
Yeah, 100%. I don't need more tube socks. I need this because somebody's going to use my phone that I fully charged and then dies halfway through the softball game that I go to. So this will lock it in, and my friend next to me who forgot to charge his phone.
Ridge makes life better. They revolutionized the wallet, right? Now they're doing it with a portable charger. It solves all of your issues. So many elite features: MagSafe wireless charging, Apple Watch charger, Lightning, USB-C, every way you need to charge, all in one premium device. The colors are swag. One thing to pack, 5 ways to power. For a limited time, get up to 40% off during Ridge's huge Father's Day sale at ridge.com/foul. Don't miss one of their biggest discounts all year. Just head to ridge.com/FOUL and you're all set. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Max, question for you about a new teammate. Have you had any conversations about last year's World Series with Eric Lauer yet?
I don't know if we've had any conversations about last year's World Series, but we have had a lot of conversations with him about him not liking us very much when he was pitching for other teams, and we've had some good laughs about it. And, those have been what most of the conversations have been about. I don't think we've talked about last year's World Series, though.
That's good. But wait, elaborate. Yeah. Who brings that
more
up?
About
yeah.
No, we all bring it up. It's you come in that clubhouse, things are going to get brought up, and that's we all kind of brought it up, and we had a good laugh about it, and it was nothing too bad, but we had a good laugh.
That's good. I mean, you want that.
Nothing
right?
is.
You want the guy that doesn't like.
By the
you,
way,
but then
nothing
comes
is
over.
sacred.
Yeah.
Nothing is sacred in the clubhouse, Scott. I mean, your fan, you don't make fun of people's kids or wives or girlfriends or any of that stuff. But anything else that has happened in baseball is fair game in the clubhouse. You can, no matter what you've done, if you've done you could be you could be Shohei Ohtani, and he does something stupid. Everybody remembers it, and it could be 5 years from now, and he goes to a different team, God forbid, and there'll be a former teammate, and they'll be like, "Show, you remember that time you blah blah blah?" There was nothing sacred, and that's what makes the clubhouse the best place on earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now going back to the postseason and then taking us to now again, what have you seen from Pages this year? I know, he's maybe in a little bit of a slower stretch now, but he was off to a roaring start. His numbers still on the year are exceptional. He plays great defense, all of that. So, what are you seeing in terms of his progression? Because you were with him in the trenches while he was essentially an auto out for a time period. He could not figure it out. And, I know it got complicated even with the lineup and everything, and the team still won. So it's all good. But you go from that where, of course, people are like, oh, can this guy hit good pitching? And then all of a sudden this year, I mean, he's been one of the better players in the sport.
Yeah. He's put in a ton of work. He's going to be a superstar in this league. I fully believe that. He's got the talent. He has the makeup. He has the mentality for it. One of the things he's really, really been trying to hone in on is his approach in the box. And, that was something that I think got away from him a little bit in the postseason. But that he put a lot of emphasis on that. And coming into this year, when you hear him talk about what he wants to do in the box, it's starting to become very advanced, and it's been a lot of fun to watch, especially for me. Just seeing a guy that, may or may not have been labeled as a free swinger, find a way to, dial in an approach a little bit better. And, it's just been really fun to watch. And, like I said, that's kind of been the big difference for him, is learning, what to focus on when it comes to an approach based, when you're getting in the box. And I think that's why he's been having such a great start.
Max, ABS, there's teams doing ABS practice now. The Red Sox were doing it, where they practice their ABS. You haven't ABS challenged that much this year, and I consider you to have one of the better eyes in the league. Is that just because, or is it because you don't know when to challenge? Like, why only 4 so far?
No, for me, it needs to be a big situation for me to want to challenge, unless it's something that's in the other batter's box and I 100% know it's a ball. But I haven't had one pitch yet this year where I've immediately just been like, oh, that was a ball, I need to challenge that. a lot of them have been close. And with the way the ABS works, if it's just one, stitch of the ball touching the zone, it's a strike. So it's like there's a lot of pitches where I've been like, I think that's a ball, but it might be right there on the edge. And you go back and look at it, and it's what is it, less than 1 inch off, or whatever the measurement is, and it's like, okay, maybe I could have challenged that, but it's a 1-1 count, or it's a 1-2 count, and it's just like it's not that big a deal. And that's one of the things that we've talked about a bunch as a team, is that we need to save those challenges mainly for the pitching staff and for big situations later in the game. So you don't want to just fire it off. And we have charts that go over low leverage versus high leverage, and that's one of the things that we've talked about a bunch as a team also, is when should we be using ABS challenges. And ultimately we want the catcher to have as many challenges as he can have the entire game with our pitching staff. We want Will and we want Dalton to be able to change the game that way, and we trust ourselves as an offense that we can get it done without it.
Now that you've seen it for a third of a season, do you think that we should have one more added? One more added for the postseason? I feel like regular season, I'm good. I'm just wondering, because what you just mentioned is going to happen in the playoffs, but it could be the third inning, and then we could look back and be like, oh, what if that happened in the third inning? There's so many more eyeballs, and everything's just higher stakes there. So I'm just wondering, is 2 still good, or do you think we should consider it in the future for adding one more to feel like you can be comfortable challenging early on in a game in a big spot?
Yeah, that is a good point, because pretty much every at bat in the postseason is a high leverage at bat. So that's a good point. I haven't really thought about that. For me, I do like the 2, because I think it adds that challenge of should you use it now, or should you save it, or well, now if you're out of challenges, does the umpire make the zone a little bit bigger? I kind of like that added element to it. But at the same time, maybe one more in the postseason wouldn't hurt. I don't know. I really haven't even thought about that.
Yeah, I like the 2. I like the 2. I like the 2. But by the way, you mentioned Dalton Rushing. Katie Wu did a great article on him not that long ago. She called me because she apparently thinks that I'm like Dalton Rushing, or Dalton Rushing's like me, which I hope Dalton Rushing is not like me. But can you give me some insight? Because I did y'all's game in Milwaukee not that long ago. You didn't talk to me. Not a shocker. You big league me. It's cool.
What?
No, it didn't even come out. Didn't even say hi. Nothing. Yeah, it's cool. I get it. But
Dude,
can you talk?
My wrist was shattered. I got hit with 98 in the wrist by Aaron Ashby. Give me a break.
It's okay.
AJ, you should have found him.
I'm not going in there's only certain teams I can go into the training room. The Dodgers, that ain't it. No. That ain't one of the teams I can walk in the training room on, because that's a no. I don't want to know what's happening in that training room. Yeah. There's a couple, but there's a few that I can walk into the training room. The Dodgers ain't one of them. So can you just give me a little bit on Rushing? Because I love the way he goes about it. I know he's not whatever. He's done some stuff. Listen, I've said stuff. I've said shit. I'll say it. I've called guys bad names that I wouldn't call them if they were sitting next to me in the heat of the battle. I've guys have tried to take me out when they could run you over, and I've said comments to them, and they've said things back. I mean, it's the way he plays, but I don't know. What is he like as a teammate? Because I want to hear from a teammate.
No, he's great as a teammate. He's a great kid. He's well received in the clubhouse, and it's honestly, it's just one of those things where you kind of mentioned it, that when he gets on the field, he plays a certain way, and that's what makes him good. And that's why ultimately for us, we've stated several times as a team, we like to let guys be who they are, and we don't want to change who they are. And we don't, if a guy needs to play a certain way to perform, we want him to play that way. And, when it comes to him, when he gets on the field, it's very football mentality. And, he might see red a little bit, but ultimately that's what's made him the player he is. And it's gotten him to the big leagues, and it's gotten him the start that he's got. And, that's just how he plays the game. The ironic thing is that's not who he is in the clubhouse and who he is as a teammate. It's just, how it comes out on the field.